Hi, my name is Corey Hanchuk. I am a senior at Watkins Glen Central High School. I seem like a normal person, right? But there is something special about me. It sets me apart from others greatly. When I was a baby, I was diagnosed with autism. Now, what is autism? It is a mental condition starting from childhood recognized by issues in communication, forming relationships with others, and language, as well as abstract thinking, like out-of-the-box style thinking. It isn't necessarily a bad thing to be born with autism. It isn't necessarily bad to know anyone with autism either. But it does make life tough for those around them. I was younger, I consumed my whole family's life for quite a few years. And here's why.
I took psychology in college, so I had some background, but I wasn't exactly positive until you were about 14 months old. You were actually the youngest ever diagnosed in Tompkins County. I pulled you out of daycare and left work before you had a diagnosis because I knew something was not right. Your first diagnosis came from Franziska Racker Center. And it's not that I disagreed with it, but I really wanted a second opinion. So we took you up to Strong Memorial to a specialist up there and got our second opinion, who agreed that you were also on the spectrum. From there, we started an intense at-home program. The Racker Center came in to see you 3 times a week. At 14 months old, you no longer napped because it was therapy back to back to back to back all day long. Colored cars, he'd line them up from one side of the room to the other. There could be hundreds of them, and you were not allowed to touch them ever until he went to bed, and then I picked them all up. But they would all be color coordinated, so maybe like all the red cars would be first and then all the blue cars, and they would just go from one side of the room to the other. Like he didn't play with like farm animals and stuff and the cow said moo. He didn't do that because he liked to build things instead. So he'd build Legos, and he'd use every red Lego block that we owned and build the bottom, and then he'd use every blue Lego block. It was all in chunk color coordinated to the point where they were so tall that he couldn't build anymore. He'd scooch a chair over and he would keep going, but it was always in the color chunk orders. There was always order to everything that he did, but he didn't know how to like take a car on a ground and go vroom vroom. That was something that he had to learn how to do. He also used to be a runner, which used to scare me, especially when he was not verbal. So if we were at a store and I didn't have him in a cart, I'd have to hold him constantly because I could turn my head for a split second and he'd be gone. So I finally got the idea to contact my jeweler because Corey was still nonverbal and not afraid of anything at this point. I got a Medic ID bracelet made from my jeweler and had his name engraved on it and my phone number because I was so afraid that he was going to run from me and not be able to tell the police or anybody who he was. They were always in on it, almost like it was a game. And it was mostly me and the 3 kids home most of the time, and I had to make it a game because there was so much time spent into therapy and trying to get help that I needed to get his siblings involved because I didn't want them to feel like they were left out. If you would have told me that these things would be happening when he was 4, would I have ever believed it?